All right, welcome to another edition of Chess Openings Explained. I'll be your host, Jonathan Schruntz, and this is the class where we get your input from YouTube and the openings that you submit. We bring them up and we play one of the things that it could be your favorite opening. So today I decided I'd do something very interesting because I wasn't very overwhelmed with the responses that I got from my last video. We need more people saying this is a great chance. You know, you're going to get your favorite openings on YouTube explained. And it's a pretty well-known fact that the Chess Club and Scholastic Center is the most technologically advanced chess club in the entire world. So it's my great pleasure to present to you the ROG 4000. That's right. We have a random opening generator. So the ROG 4000 is very high class. It will do an excellent job weeding out all the bad openings and selecting just the perfect one for tonight's class. So, all right, without further ado, I'll go ahead. I'll check what's going on in the box. I'll give it a good shake. All right, let's see what the first one is. Let's see. Very exciting. And the French defense, which we've already done. So, all right. I guess it's not as high class as I thought. But it was mentioned that maybe somebody mentioned they want to see a whole series on the French. So if you are interested in that, we might be doing that soon if people really want to see it. But not tonight. We're doing something new, hopefully something exciting. Let's see. Let's see. All right, the exchange Slav. Not tonight, not tonight. We did something positional last week, but all right, this is. All right, here we go, here we go. We're not messing around anymore. We're not messing around. All right, this better be a good one. Excellent, there we go. So tonight, our opening is the Sicilian Dragon. And this was sent in from one of my earlier videos, if I remember right. And I'm going to mess up this name, so I apologize in advance. But the Sicilian Dragon was requested from Tharinda Nimnajiv. Sorry, I had no chance of pronouncing the name, but all right, that's what we're doing tonight, Sicilian Dragon. All right, so this is an excellent one. It's a very exciting opening. This is the exact kind of opening I was hoping to do tonight. So let's have a look. It's also one of my favorite openings, so I'm in luck because I'll know what I'm talking about tonight. All right, so the Sicilian, one of the best ways for black to try to fight for a win early on. Already there's an imbalance with the move c5. He's fighting for control over the d4 square. So normally white will try to play d4 anyway, but he's going to bring his knight out first. Now he's prepared to play d4, and if there's a capture, he's prepared to take with his knight. And there's a lot of different moves that black can play in this position. Welcome, Scott. And OK, we're going to look at a d6 line. The point of this move is to be able to bring your knight out to f6 without having to worry about the e5 push, you know, harassing your knight and kicking you around. So, all right, d4 as promised. And now we enter what is known as the open Sicilian. So you can take with a queen here, too. It's possible. We'll just briefly show. Normally, this is the idea. It's not as common. And then, you know, white will either play c4 or knight c3. But that's one possible continuation. But the most popular is to take with a knight. It's just the most logical. And now the point of d6 was to be able to bring out this knight. So that's it. You know, a very natural move. Attacking the pawn. So knight c3, defending the pawn. Now at the top level, when they reach this position, the most common move is a6, which is the Najdorf. And so that's kind of the most respected opening. And I think it was Hikaru Nakamura who said at the highest level, if you're going to play the Sicilian, you have to play the Najdorf. It's just the most sound and the best way to play against it. But he's been known to play the Dragon in several US championships. So normally when he's playing a 2600 or so, Nakamura will play the Dragon. So some really good people have played it. Carlsen plays it. Radjabov plays it. I think Ivanchuk plays it a lot. So you do see it a bit, the Dragon. So we're entering an ultra sharp and a super exciting opening. Now, there's a classical way to play. We're going to look at this move because I've decided we're going to look at the Yugoslav attack. OK, you can play just classically, and then you can just, develop and castle. That's fine. F4 is the Levenfish attack. That's also interesting. It's not supposed to be very good for white, but it is very dangerous. So if you are a dragon player, you should have a look at it. But tonight we're going to go for the Yugoslav attack, a really aggressive system where white is going to castle on the queen side, and he's going to go right for a checkmating attack. So after a few more normal moves, okay, the bishop goes here, black's getting ready to castle. And it's worth noting in this position that sometimes with a bishop on e3, knight to g4 is a big threat. And this has been on our YouTube channel before, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a Yasser video. But this is a huge mistake, and already black has made a game-ending blunder. So I'll let the audience, we got a good audience tonight, so we'll see if the audience can find the right move here for white. All right, we got a lot of people here tonight, so we can do it. Very interesting. Have you got it?
Bishop to b5 check.
Excellent. Bishop to b5 check. Now, okay, so you gotta block the check. Obviously not with the queen. The most natural would be to block with the bishop. But now what will white play? What's the tactic here? Aaron. Bishop takes d7. Okay, if you play here, I can protect my knight. So this is kind of the point. We're trying to win this knight. You see how we have a queen attacking the knight? So that's what we're trying to do. So if you just trade right away, right, then he gets to protect his knight. Right, excellent. We just take the knight. Awesome, it's because of the pin, we just won a piece. It's no different if they play here. Okay, this guy's still hanging. And this is not much better either because I'm going to take this and you're in a lot of trouble still. So, okay, so that would be a huge mistake. So that's one that we should know. So the most common move is to get the bishop out. Now the king has the f8 square that he can run to. So this check isn't going to be as effective anymore. So at this point, white will normally play f3. And this is where we can officially call this a Yugoslav attack. White's plan is to get his queen out and castle on the queen side. Then he's going to use his pawns as kind of a battering ram to attack the king. And he's going to charge his pawns, and he's going to go attack. And he's going to hope for success. If he lines his queen and bishop up, of course, he can go and try to trade for the dragon bishop. So we'll see some of that today. Okay, the most natural move is just to castle. That's the main move. Knight to d2, getting ready to castle as well. And now the move, knight to c6, protects the e5 square. So now black is ready to push with d5. And there's actually a big choice here for white. He can choose between 3 different moves, each with a lot of theory behind them. So, okay, the most common and the one I've chosen to look at just now, we're going to look at bishop to c4 because it's the sharpest and it leads to some of the most exciting games. The point of this move is just to prevent black from playing d5. Also popular is castling and g4, which is a very positional way to play. We'll briefly look at castling so we can kind of try to understand the main line. When you play this, d5 was black's point. So, okay, so normally white will take this, and black will take back. And now white has the chance to inflict a structural weakness on the queen side. So he takes the knight. Hopefully he's thinking maybe I have something on the dark squares over here on the queen side. You know, it is kind of risky as well, obviously. The b file is now open, so a rook might be really useful there. But okay, he has some stuff to work with. For example, after the main move, which is try to exchange this very dangerous bishop on g7, black can do a few things. Well, it's possible to take the bishop. That's a very logical approach, actually. But e5 is the main line. Assuming I'm remembering anything right, but I think I am. All right, and then bishop to c5, and the most common move might surprise you because it's not rook e8. So the most common move is actually bishop to e6. All right, so if you move your rook, Now we'll see white entering some of those dark squares. You know, knight to e4, looking in here. He's going to jump in. He's going to cause some damage. And okay, it's like, for example, I'll just show this variation. It's not necessarily the best. Black should probably develop his bishop. But I'll show this just because there's a neat tactic here that I know of. After knight to d6, black can, you know, pin this knight. So if you take my rook, I'm going to take your bishop. But white actually has a really cool move that you might not expect if you haven't seen this before. But it's bishop to b5. A really cool move. The point is, if you take, I take with check, and then I get your rook. And if you take here, then also I'm taking this guy. So it's a nice, neat little tactic. And there's going to be a lot of tactics in this kind of opening. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to hope to see today. But we're going to focus on bishop to c4. Okay, it's just a very logical move. Now you're not going to play d5. And we're beginning to see the plans. Once both sides have castled and developed all their pieces, we're going to start looking at, you know, what the plans are for white, what the plans are for black. So you have a good chance of finding them in your own games. White's plan is going to be kind of straightforward. He's going for an attack. Black is going to try to maybe make use of this C file. So he has some pressure. And we'll look very often, there's a big theme will be the standard tactic in most Sicilians. You know, rook takes c3 when it doubles the pawns. So occasionally this sacrifice is going to be on the cards here. All right, so normally we'll castle. All right, so black's just going to bring his rook out. And there's some tricks with the discoveries here. So white will park down his bishop on b3. And we'll see, okay, black's typical plan is knight e5 to c4 to force white to give up the light squared bishop. So that's his big strategy. And he's going to hope for a lot of play over there on the queen side so he can checkmate the white king. So okay, we'll just jump into the database now. We'll just find a game from this position. I think that'll be a good way to just continue so we can see it in an actual game. And let's let black win the first game. So we'll look at the highest black players to play it. Okay, so this is the game between Karjakin and Radjabov. And we'll go ahead and flip the board. How do I flip the board? Okay, and we'll check it out from the very beginning again, so we can see this one more time. All right. So yeah, I picked this game because Radjabov was right on the top. He's played this quite a lot of times, and his games are usually really exciting. So we'll see how black wins this game. Let's see. So we have the Sicilian. And then what move makes it the dragon? Yes?
G6.
Awesome. G6. We got the dragon. All right, so we got a Yugoslav attack. White's getting ready. And we'll see the bishop c4 line. Okay. And all right, so castles, rook c8. And now we'll see what white's going to do. The most common move here is h4. Or sorry, actually, you drop back first. And then after knight to e5. h4 is the most common move, but king b1 was played. So yeah, the main move is h4 and then h5. This is very typical. Often you meet h4 with h5 in this line. And it might seem strange because you're moving pawns in front of your king, which is not something you want to do, unless it's going to slow down white's attack. And here it usually does. And there's a typical sacrifice in this line, and this is known as the Soltis variation. It's with this sacrifice, you're giving up a pawn, and you'll even give up another. So this is just a very typical way to really open it up. White's going as fast as he can. He's trying to crush black. And okay, this sort of thing will happen, and white will get tremendous pressure for the pawns that he sacrificed. So the game will probably be pretty similar after king to b1. This is the modern way to play, and that's why it's called the modern variation. So normally now, black plays rook to e8. Okay, so white made kind of a waiting move. Normally black makes a waiting move here. Rook to e8 is the most common way. That way, if white ever wants to trade these bishops, he can always go back without losing his rook on f8. So, and okay, this strikes me as a little bit strange because a6 is usually too slow in these lines, but something tells me he did his homework and he knew what he was doing. So, all right, now what I was expecting, a6, h4. So will he respond with h5? All right. Now I'm expecting g4. He's going to just rip it open, and he did. So after we take, you don't want to take back. That would be terrible because, you know, all of these captures look really good. You got a lot of things that can take there. And then, you know, this, if you take this way, you know, you're going to be able to block the H file, which is key to Black's strategy. He's trying to keep things as closed as he can. So I'm expecting H5. All right. And now you want to take with the knight. Taking with the pawn is very risky because sometimes this bishop's going to come in here and you're threatening to bring your queen in. And all right, and then there's some pins here. Notice how good this guy is. So you can get into a lot of trouble. You're trying to keep things as closed as possible. And knight to h5, which I guess I better check that was actually played, is a very common move. This guy is actually quite good here, even though he's on the rim. He's kind of blocking the H file. So white will sometimes think about this sacrifice. It's premature, but he's thinking about sometimes opening up the G file by taking this knight. Probably when he has some other pieces in here, you know, the queen can come over to some squares, and you can start getting, you can see how a big attack is coming. So let's see. So Black better at some point get something going for himself. So okay. So all the standard moves that we might expect. So this is all very typical. Now I'm expecting knight to c4, but it wasn't played. So one common idea is just to play knight to c4, and white really doesn't want to part with his dark squared bishop because his counterpart is one of Black's strongest pieces. This excellent diagonal here can cause a lot of problems for white. At some point, you know, you might think about some sacrifices, and you're thinking about some checkmates. That bishop is really good when Black is attacking there on the queen side. So white would be compelled to trade, and then the rook would take. This is sort of a typical way, but okay, so he waited on that, and he played queen a5. Now it's interesting, because there's a trick here that we should know when we play the dragon, and I like to call it the dragon trap, because it's something that happens in the dragon all the time whenever the queen goes to a5. And that is white can sometimes play the move knight to d5, and we'll have to see why this doesn't work here. The point is, the queen is attacked. You uncovered an attack. And if you trade queens, before you take the queen back, you'll throw this check in. Now this king is going to have to move, and we're going to take the queen back, and so you won a pawn. And sometimes, as is the case here, white will know this, and he'll still go in for it. So just because you're losing that pawn doesn't mean you don't want to stop thinking. But now we'll have to figure out why. Probably there's some tricks with this guy. I don't know. Let's see. Anyone see any good tricks? Maybe even like a simple move is probably a good move.
Like knight to c6.
Knight to c6. Yeah, the problem is now this guy he's kind of trapped a little bit in my territory. Now I've given him an escape route out.
You will take the rook there?
I can take the rook.
Instead of taking the knight, you take the rook. So it's the knight. Knight is threatening it.
Where the knight is threatening a rook.
Knight takes c8.
Yeah.
Knight takes c8.
C1.
Let's see. Right, so I get one move. Let's see. Okay. It is interesting because I wonder why he didn't go in for this. So I guess I'll move this guy, huh? I don't really want to leave the C file though. But okay. Yeah, so it's interesting. And it's just an idea worth knowing in the back of your mind. So yeah, after when queen a5, you always got to be ready for knight to d5. So, okay. Bishop to h6. All right, very logical. He's just going to trade off the dark squared bishops. Then he's going to hope to open up some stuff here a little bit more. Open the h file, open the g file, get his rooks and major pieces in. After some exchange, maybe the queen will be able to move over. And often Black has to consider now, do you want to take the bishop and let the queen in? Or do you even want to move the bishop and drop an exchange, which was played? So he's willing to part with an exchange already to get control over the dark squares, which is a very interesting strategy. If he would have played the waiting move rook to e8 before instead of the move a6, then okay, this possibility wouldn't exist here. So let's see. So you can take it, or you can take on g4 first. Okay, so that was played. Just opening the g file. Black's going to take it back. And now will he take the rook and give up the dark square control? And it's something you don't want to just do. It's obvious, okay, that's worth 5, my piece is worth 3. But this is a very nice piece. So let's see if he was willing to exchange. And he was. So now white picked up some material. And what's going to be most important in these lines is going to be piece play. It's a lot more important than anything else, like in material or some other factors, sometimes even pawn structure. What's really important is that you have really nice pieces. And so that's what black is arguing here. So he's arguing this bishop is really nice. Black will take with the king. The rook is really nice on c8, so he shouldn't take back with the rook. So he took with the king. All right, and now let's see what white's going to do here. Yeah, also, okay. So sometimes there's tricks here. You do give up another exchange. All right, what else? Let's see. He did it. Okay, so very interesting. He's given up 2 exchanges here, and he's going into an endgame. Because white's going to take with the queen. If you're going to ruin your pawn structure, it doesn't really make sense to keep the queens on the board. So he took with the queen, and black took back. And okay, so now he's down 2 exchanges, but he's 2 pawns. So 2 pawns for 2 exchanges. So, and this is very typical of the dragon. I knew we were going to get something exciting, because that's a really strange imbalance that you don't see every day. And all right, so these pieces, they look pretty good. Let's see how black puts them to good use here. So e6. Now this guy isn't doing very much. This bishop is a little bit locked out. And that's as much as it is about black getting his pieces to active squares. It's also about shutting out the white pieces. So, okay, a nice little move. And now a little tactical move. The point is, if you take, then we're exchanging bishops. And white's saying, well, my bishop isn't doing a whole lot there, so I'll trade it for your bishop on g4, because he doesn't want to end up with that bad piece. But you probably want to take it, because then your knight ends up in a great square. So he took it, and they exchanged bishops. Okay. So now black still has to think about how he's going to untangle here. He's probably got to get these pieces to some better squares here. So bishop to e5. And now rook to g2. Okay, he's protecting the d2 square maybe. And it'll be interesting to see. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I didn't want to say it, but that's what I was thinking. The point is to stop white from playing the move a4 as much as it is, creating a nice home for your knight. Because now if you play a4 at any moment, we'll be able to take it and have a pass pawn. So, okay. So now there's a little threat. All right, he's threatening a little cheap threat. I'm sure he saw it. All right, and it's nice to have the king over here. Now if this knight moves, this rook isn't infiltrating, because your king's on a good square. So, and at some point, this knight will probably end up going to f6, getting some pressure on this pawn here. All right, and a4 was played anyway. So now black can take it. And he took it. All right, king came up. How's black going to make progress? Knight f6. Knight f6. So he attacked a pawn. He's coming to a more active square. He was kind of done on the side. We're no longer terrified of the rooks infiltrating on the h file. That's a long way off, and we'll be able to defend. Okay, so the pawn was protected. All right, very interesting. Yeah, so he's saying, if you take my d pawn, I'm going to have 3 passed pawns, and that's what happened. So, all right, now for your 2 exchanges, you're up some pawns, and they're looking really good now. So black's strategy is just going to be a sort of a technical idea for he's going to push all of his pawns, and so we'll see what happens. Notice that this king is really boxed out. He's not like entering the game. His only job is to babysit these pawns so that they don't advance. And if you just compare the quality of the pieces, black's pieces are just way better than the white rooks, even though the knight and the bishop that he has for the exchange. Really nice. All right, so he can start.
If you take the bishop with the rook.
You're thinking about giving up an exchange?
Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting idea, so I'll take it. We're not going to throw the check in. I'm just going to take it. Do you have like a follow-up for white, or you're just hoping to reduce the pieces?
I was thinking to kind of thread with the rook to the knight, to try that if it's possible.
Where were you? You're going to move the rook? Where are you going to go?
One square to the right.
So G1?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll probably take this with the check. Okay, and this, it doesn't feel like white really obtained too much from this. I mean, you have your rooks, that's your one big trump if you're white. You have the extra heavy pieces. So he'll probably try to keep them as long as he can. And if you trade too many pieces, it's going to be really easy to push my kingside pawns. So he probably wants to keep as many pieces on the board as possible at the moment. So rook h3 was played. Okay, he protected his pawn. But what's this? Do I not have a fork here? I just have to consider if I want to take your knight first. So it looks like he is giving up an exchange. So he did it in a different way. All right, so he took the knight first, and now I expect a nice fork. All right, so black is winning material here. So after he picks which rook he wants to save. All right, so now it's a rook versus a knight, but the most important factor is obviously these pawns. So it's time for them to start going. The king has like no chance of ever getting back here. That's just, he's kind of far locked out of the game. And the rook isn't going to be able to contain 3 pawns. So let's see what happens. G5, here he goes. All right, the pawn is attacked. I think he'll protect it. And okay, so he attacks the knight. It's worth trying to calculate if you can just push and ignore. But you can probably just move the knight out of danger. Is it working? Okay, so he moved his knight. White just keeps attacking it. And okay, now he's in a good position. He's always going to be able to, black's going to be able to protect his knight. He's going to be able to keep pushing these guys. So white also says, okay, I've got a passer. He's got to get some counterplay somehow. So the black king, though, is just going to be in time. The black king can come over here and, guard against these pawns. So, okay. So black goes. So it's a race, but the black king is going to be able to stop white's passed pawn. And it's not obvious how white is going to, stop black. So he can trade here. So he probably should. Get rid of that guy. Okay, so this is also trading pawns. All right. So black got rid of the passer, and now will he be able to get one of these guys to become a queen? All right, so when you have passed pawns and you can push them safely, you should push them. Knight's attacked. Probably you can push your pawn or bring your king in. All right, he brings the king in. You're probably not threatening to take the knight. So, and this is nice too. Like he lets you take the knight with check, but it's all about king activity now. A king and 2 pawns is too much for a rook. And this guy is way too far away. So, all right, when you can push your pawns, you should. All right, and he says, I'll remind you, I also have this guy. All right, now A2 is a nice move. Also F5 is good. All right, A2, and that was the game. So, an excellent technique. And man, that was a good game. So, most games of the Dragon, you can almost guarantee that they're going to be fun and exciting like this. Black gave up 2 exchanges, so a crazy imbalance and a lot of fun. And then he showed some really good technique. Those passed pawns on the queen side were just too much for white to handle. Okay, we'll find one more game. We'll go back to our initial position here, and we'll pick one more. And we'll pick a game from white. Let's see white win a game here. So this is Magnus Carlsen versus Timur Radjabov. This was played in 2008. So it's interesting. Carlsen and Radjabov, they both play this a lot. So I think it'll be entertaining to see these two play this out because they're both very proficient at this opening. So this is it. This is 2 of the top Dragon experts in the world going at it. So let's see what happens. The Sicilian the open Sicilian, we protect our pawn, and we're planning for the Yugoslav attack. All right, so they castle. All right, so bishop to c4 is what we're looking at. Now after castling, okay, rook to c8 is the most common move. But here, interesting, we have a Chinese dragon. This move is a very special move. His point is he's going to play a move like knight a5, attacking the bishop, and a5, and the knight's going to jump into c4. That way, if the bishop takes the knight on c4, he's going to be able to open up the b file, and he's going to get a lot of pressure on the white king. So a very, very interesting way to play. It's not supposed to be super popular at the top grandmaster level. It's a little suspicious. Normally, black goes all in for a big attack on the king's side, but it often fails. So we'll see what happens here. I think bishop b3 is the most common move. Okay. Now I'd expect either knight a5 or b5. So, okay. And the point is he's not going to take this guy. The point is he's going to play b5 and jump his knight into c4. Okay, we saw in the last game, king b1 is just a good move. And often in this variation, the white king will actually end up on a1. So really tucked away safe. Because eventually the b file is going to open up. And you don't want your king on the same file as a rook, because then there'll be some tactical ideas. So we'll see if any of that happens. So b5. At some point, he's going to play h4 if white. You got to time it right. h4. So will he play h5? Will he just go in for it? Let's see. And this is usually a little bit different. I think in this line, black just gets on with what he's doing most of the time. So we see that here. All right, so the queen and bishop are attacked. So he's got to trade the knight. And this is what we're talking about. So the b file's open, and there's a king on the b file. So occasionally you're going to have some tricks because these squares are not really protected the way you might think they are because the pawn is pinned. So let's see. King a1. So far I'm doing a good job. Yeah, so the king gets tucked away on a1, so you're not on the b file. And actually, maybe I've seen this game. All right, I think I actually know this game. So, all right, so will we see g4? Normally, g4 isn't as effective in this line. Yes, yeah, so I have seen this game before. I remember this move. It was a very nice move. Carlsen does a really good job in this game. He understands all of his opponent's possible threats. Occasionally, the queen is going to go to either b6 or a5, have some pressure here. And okay, he's stopping it before you even have a chance. And if I remember this game, and I only vaguely do, he really is good. He makes a lot of prophylactic moves, and then black ends up with an attack that doesn't work, and then white just succeeds in crushing black on the king side. So let's see. All right, so now, again, when the queen goes to a5, we want to ask, do we have the dragon trap? Knight d5, that's the first move that I want to think about. It wasn't played, so let's go ahead and look at it. Knight to d5. Let's see, if we trade and you take, and the king will move somewhere, and you'll take back. Are there some tricks? Well, I mean, immediately I can just take this, and then I'll snatch this guy up. I'm just wondering if this is even stronger. My idea is if you move here, I'm going to play rook to b6, which is often where this rook wants to be in this variation, because you're going to double up on the b file. And all right, looks like you're going to lose some material, because one of your knights are going to fall. I have ideas of taking here. I'm just taking this knight. So it looks pretty miserable. So that's why the dragon trap doesn't work here. So all right, bishop to h6. So should black take? Should he retreat and let white take the rook like we saw in the last game? All right, he takes, and so the queen will take back. And it's kind of a good idea. Now there might be some tricks eventually on this square if the queen is far away. It looks kind of scary. The queen is right next to your king, but you're not really doing anything just yet. And so black, okay, he might develop his rooks. He might double. Rooks might swing over. These are the kinds of things that happen a lot in this line. So rook to b6 was played. And now, okay, probably we can go back if we want. We can just really protect this knight so there's never any tricks. Move like knight to e2. Let's see. But g4. Okay, on with the attack. So black's probably thinking, can he ignore it? Does he have to take? He took. And now, will we see h5 or another move? Okay, queen to e3. So he's protecting his knights, so there's not any tricks there eventually.
Could you have also played g4?
In which position?
That after black takes.
Okay, you want to take back this way?
Yeah.
All right, it looks rather risky, so I have two different ways that I can capture this guy. I'm not even so concerned with attacking your queen. I think I'll just play here just so that, eventually I can just park here. You'll never open up the H file. I probably, this is probably good too. It makes a lot of sense as well. You'll be jumping back into some good squares here maybe eventually. But the queen wants to retreat somewhere. So, but okay, this is probably good for black as well. Yeah, so I suppose, white isn't really concerned with this move. Opening the G file a little bit more, so moves, like H5 might be coming. But it is worth noting too, the queen on A5, as in with a lot of Sicilian dragons, does a good job protecting the H5 square. So I've seen a lot of games where people just miss that. I'll make some bad moves. They'll think they're shattering open the king, and then they'll realize that there's a queen here. So don't let that happen to you. All right, so that's interesting. Let's see. So he doubled. So what will white do? Somehow he's got to make some threats, or he's got to play some defense. Okay, so he goes for it anyway. He's not afraid of opening the position. So black can take with a knight, or you can play g5, which is interesting. This is a common move that you actually see in the dragon a lot. When you play g5, you're just keeping the game shut. You don't want to open the king side at all. So, all right, an interesting move. Now white captured. So black can take back either way. Takes with the knight, attacking the queen. Maybe the knight is also thinking about hopping back to h6, blockading the pawn, and being very, very safe. So, okay. Now, occasionally we might, we're not, without a rook here, we're never really going to have any of this going on, because even if when you take here, you'll be able to move your king to f8. So, but okay, he's just protecting that knight so that, there's no tactics. And now, yeah, very interesting. So what is white doing here? It looks like black is really solid, so somehow white better play a good move here.
For example, if you move your knight to d5.
Knight to d5. All right, I'll take this. Yeah. You want to sacrifice your pieces in the dragon, but not that bad. Okay. So I don't know what's our protagonist going to play here. Let's see. Knight to f3. Oh, this is a very good move. So white has to do something. He's aiming for e5 and knight takes g5. Getting in at the king. All right, very, very interesting. So it's getting very exciting. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so now, right, I'm always looking if there's ever going to be any tricks, any captures here that are going to work. We'll see. So he's not threatening anything just yet. Okay, so he kicks the knight away. And black makes a big threat. Okay, so we can no longer just go through with this idea, because what does black play here? Let's make sure I'm right. All right, I think I'm right. What was black's threat? He played rook to b4 for a reason. And we have a very strong player in the audience now. So he will surely find it. He's been doing a lot of tactics lately. We'll only mention his name if he gets it right. All right, who's the tactical wizard? Rook to a4. I'm giving up an exchange. My queen is protected. So my queen is protected. Are you just taking the knight? You have much better, so let's think for a second.
Yeah, I think you just take it.
All right, so you just want to take it with your queen,
Yeah.
and you're threatening a checkmate,
Yeah.
but I see it. Boop. Yeah, so now I don't see a follow-up for you. Like this sacrifice doesn't work, for example, because I get to run away. Okay, but you have much better here. Either that or I'm going to look really foolish on the internet. So hopefully I'm right here. All right, I do. Seems pretty straightforward. Hopefully you guys found it at home. Queen takes a2. This is the crusher. Only move is to take back. Rook takes, king takes, rook a4, checkmate. Notice how useful this pawn is. So the king can't run away, checkmate. So he made a threat. So let's see. Did Carlsen fall for it and get checkmated? All right, let's get back to our position here. He saw it. So he played a3. He's not threatening to take the rook. He's preventing checkmate. And all right, so we're always going to be wondering, we got to make sure you're calculating all these sacrifices. I don't think black has a threat here. So, all right, bishop to e6. All right, he's looking at his own pawn. I would get mad at my students if they played that game, but if Radjabov played it, then I'll be like, all right, you're the best. So will we see d5? Yes. How will he take back? All right, and is he going to take on g5? All right, so this looks extremely risky, so I doubt he took it. Right. All right, this just looks way too dangerous. I don't know where you're going, but I have this guy. He's looking pretty good. Threatening to win a little bit of material here, but yeah, like h6 looks like it's going to be pretty good in this position. So it looks extremely dangerous to take it. So he just left it alone, moved his bishop, and again, it was attacked by the knight. All right, is the bishop going to do anything tactical here? Let's see. Okay, so the knight jumps back. Okay, so he's blockading the pawn. How is white going to make more progress, though? Okay, so he's thinking about this, and then taking back, winning a little bit of material. So now let's get serious about some of these sacrifices over here. All right, probably nothing works. So, all right. Okay, so queen to g2 looks pretty crushing. Okay, this move also doesn't look bad. It's a funny bishop. He just keeps going back and forth. He can't decide. But okay, but it's white that needs to prove he's getting black good here. All right. Again, you could probably bring the queen over, but okay, this doesn't look too bad either. Let's see. All right, so it keeps the knight there. Okay, and he goes into this pin, but all right, now we got our power pieces here on the open G file. So we got something good coming up. All right, so it's a discovered attack. The knight is hanging, but also we're allowed some checks. A very nice move, knight to g5. All right, it was taken. And now the queen is getting some access. She's trying to come in here. Taking on g6 looks really risky. I assume like h6 looks like it's a big crushing move. This also looks like it wins, and the game ended here. It's hard to stop me from playing there. Even something like this, so I'm distracting you, hoping for one trick that I get to take your queen. But okay, if you take this, you're still threatening to bring your queen in with checkmate. So man, another really exciting game. And I like the way that white played this at the beginning. We'll get back to the finish here, which was here. Yeah, so that's what happens in the Chinese dragon. It's a very exciting way to play for black. Sometimes you just get a lot of pressure on the queen side and you just checkmate white immediately, and then you look like a genius. It is a bit dubious at the higher levels. Carlsen did a really good job just defending. It looked a little perilous for him at first, but he kept his eye for all the tactical opportunities, and eventually he broke through. Knight f3 was a really good move, just threatening to take on g5 and opening up the game. So a very well played game. So good job to the box. You worked really hard today. You picked a good one. So hopefully if you guys liked it, you'll hit like, subscribe, send some feedback, and send in your games. Maybe we'll pick your favorite next week. Thanks, guys. All right, good job to the box. It's a fantastic box. And it only took 3 tries to get a good opening.